Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Wrestling Uncensored. Tonight on the show, we're previewing WWE's Crown Jewel. We are watching a live edition of AEW Rampage, reviewing tonight's episode of Smackdown and everything else going on in pro wrestling. Let's bring Johnny North in here and start the show. Yes, indeed. We are here. There's John. What's up, John?
Well, as you know, I'm a little beat up and sore, but still one piece, trugging along and, here for all the fans watching us as we watch wrestling.
Yes.
We always do every week, or try to every week.
Oh, we do. We succeed in watching wrestling every week, John. I don't think there's a week that goes by where we don't watch some wrestling, right? We succeed.
Well, there are, the weeks sometimes, we were at Smackdown one week, right? So we actually didn't have to watch and talk about it. We just watched it. So
we didn't talk about it. Different. Although we talked about it in our personal lives, obviously, as we always do. And we are here right now. And yes, John, you wrestled Drew Onyx last Sunday? Sunday. I was there.
A couple days ago, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, and it was a hell of a match, and AJ actually posted the whole match on the Ringside Report Instagram. If you didn't know that, you could watch the thing at Ringside Report on Instagram. AJ posted it sideways, so if you turn your phone sideways, you'll be able to see it. I don't know how he
turn your phone sideways, then the video goes sideways too, so
yeah.
It's actually hard, actually.
Yeah, you got to turn your head sideways. There's no way to do it. AJ screwed it up. But you can kind of watch the match on our Instagram page. AJ.
The best thing, he can fix that.
Yeah.
Which he should do.
He should. But it was a hell of a match, John. I talked about it last night with AJ. And it was a great match.
Thank you. I try.
Sorry, I got distracted.
To bring the violence.
Did Orange Cassidy beat Shibata like that?
With the orange punch, yeah. Yep.
What?
I can't believe you're surprised. I'm not surprised. Of course he's going to win.
Yeah, he's going to win because Shibata's kind of the guest and he's not here full-time in AEW, but what? That's Shibata, man. If you're not a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, I guess you're not too familiar with the guy, but man, he was one of the top guys. I can't believe Orange Cassidy just beat him that quickly. It was a great match. I really liked it.
Was it quick? It's 18 minutes now?
I guess. A little less. They're going to do a handshake now. I thought that match was really good. I'm a big fan of Shibata's. I'm a little confused about what he's doing right now, but glad to see him in the ring because at one point it looked like he would never wrestle again and maybe even had permanent brain damage from a headbutt that he threw to Okada that busted his head open. John, you've seen that, right?
You showed me, if I'm not mistaken, so yeah.
Yeah. Tony Mack, one of the members of the team, says you can lock your screen so you can watch it sideways then. Oh. Tony Mack's got tricks for the iPhone. Screen lock. Smart.
Yeah, it's nice. But it'd be nicer if AJ fixed it, actually. But
yeah.
Wait and see. He said he would, actually, too. So wait and see.
We'll see if he does. The match was fantastic, John. And you took a lot of chops from Drew Onyx. Your back was all cut.
Yeah, he beat the crap out of me.
Yeah, he beat the hell out of you. I mean, you gave him some good shots too, John.
I did, but I have to admit, I was surprised with the violence he brought. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. He really brought it. More so than I thought he would. I shouldn't have underestimated him. That was a big mistake.
I feel like you've had violent matches with him in the past. The other two matches that I've seen, I've seen you wrestle this guy 3 times. And it's always violent.
But I feel like, because that was the first couple times I wrestled him, And that was me like proving myself to him that I could bring the violence. And now it's like, well, now he knows because I beat him those times, right? In the first 2 matches. But the last 2 matches we've had, it's like he's caught on where it's like he knows I'm going to bring the violence. So now he has to up his game. And I feel like he's upped his game, actually. As you saw, like, he was in the best shape of his life right there. Like, usually he's in over 300 pounds. He was like 248. Like,
Wow.
it made a difference. I'm surprised. Like, he surprised me too much, unfortunately, in that match. And of course, yeah, I mean, you mentioned the whole thing about my manager and all
Your
that. Like,
manager sucks, John. Your manager is garbage. He cost you the match. You hit your finish, the STO. Your manager doesn't know that's the finish. It's 1, 2, 3. We go home. We cash the paychecks. What's this guy doing? Come on, man. I need to have a talk with that guy. Listen
the
here, my
thing
friend.
that you have to realize, though, is like, because I've beaten Onyx before, right? It's not just about beating him, but like humiliating him as well. Like
Eh.
showing that I can beat him and I can have my way with him. So that was kind of important that I had to like kind of showcase that. And unfortunately, that didn't work out too well. So again, it's more on me. It's not Shano's fault as much as like I underestimated Onyx. And, hopefully in the next show that won't happen again. If I get another opportunity, like that's the fourth match, our singles match against each other. I don't know if I'll get another shot against him. That's a big question now, because now with that loss, that's a devastating loss for me, because now that puts me like at the bottom right now. Because now like the whole ranking system that we have at Torture Chamber, like it started from scratch again, right? With this whole tournament thing they're doing. So that loss puts me right at the bottom. So now I got to work my way all the way up, where he's already at the top, right? He's number one contender in a sense.
Well,
So
isn't there a title match now between Drew and your tag team partner Bjorn?
Yeah, that's December 4th.
So you could get the winner of that if Drew wins.
Well, I got to start getting some wins now, unfortunately. But that's the thing. I got to work my way up, because with that loss, that puts me all the way down.
Maybe you should wrestle that Irish fellow that Bjorn defeated.
Possibly. He was actually hurt though, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Like I saw, like a lot of guys were actually kind of hurt after. Even Onyx, like I don't know if you noticed during that match, like that took a huge toll out of Onyx. Like he had trouble walking after that match.
It was a rough match,
as you said. Like, yeah, he brought the violence, but like I brought it too, and like it was a struggle for him. Like I know, like you saw him like tune up the band, whatever. Like there was no way he was going to hit a super kick on me, because there's no way he could lift his leg up. Like he was hurting. And like throughout like the night, I think he was hurting too. So we'll see like what's going to happen in that title match. Like he's walking in there wounded already. A lot of guys, like I saw them afterwards, like they were just on the floor, like down after their matches. Like a lot of matches were kind of brutal.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, like yeah. I unfortunately didn't get to see a lot of it, but apparently a lot of people took a lot of damage. Obviously, you saw the damage I took, but I'll proudly say that I didn't fall down. I stood up. Obviously, I was in a lot of pain, but this isn't the first time, and I'll bounce back. Don't worry.
Well, that shotgun dropkick you hit him with was amazing. That Daniel Bryan special there that you just nailed him with off the second rope was fantastic. And
right. That was the setup for the finish, yeah.
And that was the setup for your finish, which was great.
Yeah.
Which you hit, the chokeslam STO that you hit perfectly. And then you go for the finish, and your manager's like, let me take a selfie. So you guys pose for some reason. Drew Onyx fights out of it. Why? Oh, no, he kicked out when you went to finally pin him after taking way too much time because of your terrible manager with his terrible strategies. And then you decided, okay, well, how about I go up to the second rope again, set up the finish, shotgun dropkick, I'll hit the STO again, and I'll go home and everything will be great. Unfortunately, Drew Onyx moved out of the way from the shotgun dropkick, and it was pretty much a wrap from there, John. You lost to Drew Onyx.
I did. I kind of screwed up. And I have to understand too, that barrage of like chops he gave me at the beginning, it kind of took me off guard a bit. Like that took a lot out of me. So to bounce back after that was extremely difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of fighting from under almost like through the whole match because again, I wasn't expecting that.
But
Like if anything, that hurt me the most.
you had him beat.
I did.
You
Yeah.
you had him beat. You had him down. If you wrestle him again, it will be the same thing. And the next time, no stopping for selfies, no stopping for anything. 1, 2, 3. And like you said, it was a violent match. You walked away, you're bruised, you're hurt. He walked away barely able to walk. He may have won the battle, but Johnny North is about to win the war because the next time you face off, he's going to be so depleted, so injured from not only what you have already done to him, but from what your tag team partner is going to do to him on December the 4th. So I look forward to seeing the next time you and Drew Onyx face off what he has left for you, because it is my estimation that he will have very little. And you, still walking, still standing, still muscular, still hitting the gym, still dedicated, still sticking to the most regimented diet that I've ever seen, you're going to be ready. And I think you're younger than him too, so you're in good hands.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So again, like this was the problem too. I may have overestimated what I can do, and then what he can't do. Like he can actually do more than I expected. So that's something again I have to take into consideration. I beat him the first 2 times. He's beaten me the last 2 times. So I have to readjust things. But you're right. Like they're little mistakes that can be fixed. It's not a huge thing. And the thing is, like, we'll see if he even makes it to face me another time, because maybe he won't get past December 4th. You have to wait and see. You never know what happens with this. Again, like a lot of guys, they were like walking wounded right after that match. Who knows who makes it to December 4th? So it's gonna be very interesting. I know I'll be there because regardless that I was beat up, I was at the gym every day this week, clanging, banging.
That's right.
So. Like I'm beat up, but it doesn't stop me.
While others were taking some time off to rest, you don't rest. There is no rest. You rest between reps.
Right. Yes. And of course, the nice cold shower. You need that. Tons of ice packs. Screw Cena. You get those ice packs. I don't care what he says.
Cena says no ice packs?
Because apparently there's some story about how like remember I told you about it was Punk and Cena, but it's not Punk and Cena. It's actually Cena and Rollins, where he asked Rollins like, "Oh, you use an ice pack? Like, how long you been in the business?" Because there's this thing in wrestling where only like veterans can use ice packs. Yeah, it's a stupid thing, which is ridiculous. But Cena was pushing that.
There's a lot of unwritten rules like that in wrestling that the wrestlers like to stick to. We are watching AEW Rampage right now. John, you'll be on that show December 4th. When's the next match that you have? Is that your next official booking? Is there something else closer?
I'll be at that show. Am I wrestling? I don't know right now. I believe I will be, but nothing's confirmed right now. I mean, we'll find out as the time comes, but we're only in November. We're a month away exactly right now, so hopefully we'll know soon enough in the upcoming days, weeks.
WWE's Crown Jewel going down tomorrow afternoon. We'll be doing the post show right here on the Ringside Report Network. Myself,
2 hours.
My brother. Are you going to be on the post show, John? Yeah.
I'll be around. More than likely I'll wake up and it'll start more than likely.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. It's at noon Eastern time tomorrow afternoon, WWE's Crown Jewel. We're going to preview that here on the show. We're watching AEW Rampage right now. It's Britt the Baker and Jamie Hayter versus some people.
Sky Blue, and I think Madison Rain.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen this match before, but whatever.
What's the main event of this show? I thought it would be Shibata.
Right? That's what I thought so too. I think it might be Warjo against the Gates of Agony, I think.
Cool.
Ring of Honor. Can't stop the Ring of Honor stuff.
Or
Maybe
what?
Tyson will do something.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's like on commentary. We're not listening to it because we're talking to each other. We just have the visuals here for the tag team match that we're watching. I want to get to WWE's Crown Jewel. Let's get to a little WWE. Let's get right into it, Johnny North. First off, SmackDown tonight was a taped show. Wasn't the best show, but that main event was very
bad.
good.
I thought it was all right show, to be honest. Like I wouldn't say it was an amazing show, but
Yeah,
I thought it was fine, to be honest.
yeah, it was all right. It was, like I said, it wasn't the best show I've ever seen, but it was, it was all right. It had its ups and downs. Gunther and Rey was really good though. In the main event, Gunther beating Rey Mysterio, with like a pick him up clothesline deal. What the hell was that finish? It wasn't the most impressive finish, but it looked violent, so I'm fine with it. Is that his normal finisher? What is his finisher? Gunther.
I thought it was the powerbomb actually, and Ray already kicked out of it. So,
so clothesline?
I think that's why. I think
With a
they just
clothesline?
went with like just being with a move. It gets a good reaction. That's it. It got a good reaction, so people believed in it. So
Mm-hmm. No, it
I
was
thought it was
believable. Kicked him in the head, and then he picked him up, and he clotheslined him. Yeah, it looked good. Solid. It was just like, what is that? Is that his move? Is that one of his finisher? I was just confused as to like what happened there, because it's not an ordinary finish, right? You don't see wrestling matches ended with a clothesline very often.
No, but I think it's just one of those situations where they wanted the match to kind of end out of nowhere, kind of way, but they also
Mhm.
wanted to end strong. So clothesline's a good move for that, or possibly a head drop of some kind. But it does. You don't really need that when it's Ray. He's a small enough guy. You don't need to drop him on his head to kill him. You just got to give him a big clothesline. I think that's good enough.
What'd you think of the match?
Yeah, I thought it was a good match, good back and forth, like good storytelling in the sense that, Ray's obviously the underdog trying to fight the big giant, but it was good and it kind of showed you that Ray, regardless like how long he's been in WWE, like he can still keep up with a lot of people and he can still pull off these matches. Like, and you could believe that, unfortunately it's tape show, so people probably already knew ahead of time, but if it was live, you could believe Ray could have won that match because he still feels like he can go. Like he doesn't feel like he's a step behind whatsoever.
Yeah, and he really elevates for these big matches. When it's time to step up, he steps up. Like this match was
Right.
incredible. That power bomb that Ray turned into a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. I mean, Gunther's bump off of it was ridiculous. It was really impressive. The fact that he could do that as such a large man, but
Yeah.
the fact that Ray also didn't break his neck on the move, was able to land it perfectly. Like both guys hitting that move was a thing of beauty. Like it was a team effort there, and the fact that they were able to pull that off with, I mean, high risk, perfect execution, and just a thing of beauty, a move that you really don't see, and that's not something you see every day. That was amazing. That power bomb turned into a Hurricane Rana there by Ray in midair on Gunther. Like they switched in midair. It was crazy. Gunther's a hell of an athlete, man.
Yeah. Well, again, it takes two to tango in that one, where Ray also has to do his part in that one. So a lot of cooperation. I think it helps a lot that Ray, like, he's a smaller guy, so he can pull that kind of off. Where if he was a bit taller, then that gets a bit scarier. So the fact that, again, his experience in that, the fact that Gunther kind of almost somewhat landed on his head, somewhat side or something, it seems. So I wouldn't say that was the easiest bump in the world that he took, but he was able to walk away from it at least. So, but not one of those bumps you want to do every show. That's for sure.
But it was one of those things that reminded me of, like a Rey and Eddie Guerrero match where they would do things, they would improvise, and you would see moves that you don't really see anywhere else.
Right.
Like, I don't know how planned that was tonight with Gunther and Rey, but it felt like kind of in the moment, them feeling it because they're both top of the line professional wrestlers. And again, Rey is a legend. Rey is a future Hall of Famer. Rey is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But week after week, I see Gunther and I think, this guy is something. I mean, I'm already impressed. Like, I'm already sold on Gunther. It's not like I have to be sold on him, but it's not just that he's good. It's that he's excellent. Like, he's world class. These matches that he's having with Sheamus, with Rey, like this Intercontinental title run, it's another level. His promo tonight was short but solid. He looks amazing. He's intimidating. He's huge. And his wrestling is just excellent. I'm a huge fan of this guy. I hope we see big things for Gunther in WWE. How old is old Gunther? Check that out
I
here.
feel like he's got to be at least in his 30s by now. He's been wrestling for quite a while, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's
like,
35.
yeah, he's great.
Man, that's young for being as good as he is. You know what I mean? And as established as he is, he's got a lot of time. He's got 10 good years in WWE.
He should. The only thing now is really that they got to put him in, like, they gave him a great opponent in Rey, but they got to give him higher profile settings. Like, he had that big match with Sheamus at the Clash, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't really had much since then. Like, they had that Extreme Rules, like, brawl thing, whatever. So he's kind of lost in the shuffle there. He needs more, like, big time moments. So, like, at Survivor Series, is he just going to get lost in the shuffle again? Like, what's going to happen? And then it's Survivor Series, then it's Rumble right now. So, it's hard to keep that going. Like, you got to keep putting him in the TV main events in order to showcase him. But it's tough because on SmackDown, he can never be the main guy because Roman's the main guy. So he's always like, he's the top champion in a sense, defending, wrestling, but he'll never be the guy on SmackDown. So that's kind of tough.
Or on Raw, really, because there's only one guy right now. It's Roman Reigns. Like, Roman Reigns is the top guy on Raw and SmackDown. He was on Raw this week.
Yeah, but when he's not there, like, he would be better than Seth Franklin, really. If they could switch those champions, that'd be better.
Gunther on Raw, you're saying?
Oh, yeah. Because he get a lot more time. I mean, they get a lot more time on Raw than they do on SmackDown. SmackDown feels a little more rushed. Though they gave him a bit of time here because I think they realized it was taped. They could kind of plan it out better. But on Raw, they give him a lot more time, I think.
Yeah, you might be right. But I think they have time with him, and I think they're going to do big things with him because I think Triple H is very high on him, and he's clearly good. He's passing all the tests. You know what I mean? Like, all the matches, everything he's doing, he's having a good run as Intercontinental Champion where all his big matches are impressive and hard-hitting, and he's doing very well. So I'm enjoying his progression, but you're right. I mean, it's not his time to ascend to the top of the card right now, but I could see it being his time in a year or two. This Tribal Chief thing with Roman, I think probably goes till WrestleMania and a little bit past WrestleMania, but I could see it starting to fall apart after that.
Possibly. I mean, again,
it's good.
It all depends how everything comes together in the sense that where are we going with this IC title reign as well? Like, eventually he's going to lose, but who's he going to lose it to? So they got to build up the right guy to finally take the title from him, and then for him to move on after that. Like, I'm thinking right now it's got to be Braun who's going to take the title from him, I'm guessing.
Should he take the title from him, or do they just have a nice lengthy program where Gunther stays champion? Because I'm looking at the landscape of SmackDown too, and Braun does stick out as a guy that Gunther could wrestle next. I don't know what those matches will be like. Gunther's a big, hard-hitting guy. Braun Strowman kind of is too, but Braun's a little awkward in there. Gunther's a much smoother wrestler than Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those matches could be hit or miss. Like, they could be excellent under the right circumstances, and if Braun is in the right zone, but they could also be garbage. So I look forward to...
Talking about tests. That's a good test right there.
Yeah. Good test for Gunther. Can you make Braun Strowman look good?
Yep.
Big test for Braun Strowman. Can you make Omos look good? Can you carry Omos to a match that has a semblance of goodness to it? You know what I mean? Like, can you give us something that isn't a total disaster? Because if you look at it on paper, Braun Strowman versus Omos, and you're an astute observer of professional wrestling, you would think this is a total disaster. MVP cut a promo tonight about Strowman, and apparently Omos was already in Saudi Arabia, and MVP had arranged 5 opponents for Braun Strowman that Braun just kind of ran over and we never saw again. And then Braun kind of beat up MVP a bit and power slammed him 3 times. So Braun and Omos at Crown Jewel coming up tomorrow afternoon. Let's start there, because I think it's just a good starting point for the pay-per-view that will be Crown Jewel. Braun Strowman and Omos. A one-on-one. I think Braun Strowman probably wins because he seems to be getting a stronger push.
Right.
I also think the match will be terrible. I feel like Braun will win by countout. And it will be similar to his match with Tyson Fury, which was also not good.
I think this could be potentially worse because with Fury, I feel like they had an idea where it's just like he's going to do one thing, that's all he can do. With this, I think Omos might think he can do more than he can actually do, and then that's going to lead to a lot of problems, I think. And the same thing with Braun as well. There's going to be a lot of awkwardness, I think, in this. But that's also what kind of makes this enjoyable to watch, where it's like, how bad could this be? I kind of want to see how bad it will be, actually.
Oh, I'm very interested in this match because I expect it to be horrible. And I expect, half an episode of Botchamania just in one match, right?
There's a good chance, yeah. But they might just keep, like, if they're smart, they just keep it short. If you just keep it, no more than 5 minutes, I think they'll be all right, to be honest. It's when they get past that 5 minutes, then you're going to get in botch waters when that happens.
Botch waters?
Yeah.
Deep, botchy, muddy waters. Botch waters. Braun Strowman is a minus 1,000 favorite to beat Omos.
Wait, you got the betting odds. Cool.
I have betting odds for you. I decided to keep it spicy here. We're in Saudi Arabia. Let's get spicy. Braun Strowman minus 1,000. Omos plus 500. Seems about right. Braun Strowman to win, right? This match could be a total disaster. I hope it's not. I hope it's a classic. But it probably
You're not going to be cheering for the Prince, I imagine.
No. Didn't Triple H and Stephanie McMahon do a press conference today in Saudi Arabia where they applauded the king of Saudi Arabia and the prince, and they chanted for MBS? And creepy, right?
Apparently that got people very upset, apparently, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean the guy is not excellent. It's illegal to be gay in Saudi Arabia, isn't it? That's not cool. Any country where it's illegal to be gay is kind of like, whoa, what's happening over here? And And there are countries out there where it's like you're not allowed to be homosexual, gay, or lesbian, or whatever. And it's like, really? Come on. Because over here, you could be whatever you want. That seems to be the better system. I like that way. Where you can do whatever. Seems easier. Less intrusive into people's lives. So, also, it just makes sense. So, yeah. I wouldn't be applauding a leader who, imprisons the homosexuals. Seems wrong.
I think there's a lot of human rights violations that people had problems with, but
they killed that journalist guy too, the Saudi Arabians,
exactly.
Right? Khashoggi. I mean, that was not cool.
Yeah. And I guess this show is happening, by the way, because earlier in the week they were saying Iran might actually attack Saudi Arabia, so
yeah,
the show might not happen, but it's actually happening, so that's good. That,
yeah, they went anyways. Or whatever, no big deal. Oh, threats of a military attack from Iran. Let's go do a wrestling show. No big deal.
Well, I'm not surprised that you see how much money they make for these shows.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did it. Like, do I agree with it or not? It doesn't really matter, obviously, because it's just the money, Like, I'm sure that's what a lot of them think about it, too. It's like, oh, who cares what we think, Money.
Yeah. There's a lot of money. But it's not like our government doesn't take money from Saudi Arabia either for, trucks and jeeps and military shit that we sell them, right? So that happens.
I want to say oil, too.
I mean, we probably buy it from them, don't we? They're not buying it from us. But yeah, we give them money. They give us money. They buy stuff from us. We buy stuff from them. The United States and Canada do a lot of business with Saudi Arabia. And yes, the WWE is doing business with them too. And a lot of people in wrestling want to attack the WWE for doing it. And I don't disagree with that. But also, let's be just clear about what the world governments are doing too. I mean, our own government in Canada does business with Saudi Arabia. So does the United States, so.
Yeah, there's corruption throughout the world. I mean, even in your own backyard, more than likely. So, I mean, this is not eye-opening stuff. I feel like this
I don't have a
is
backyard.
kind of common knowledge. You kind of do, like I find, but
I have a back balcony. It's not it. I'm on a
yeah,
second
exactly.
floor.
That's something.
Anyways, it's not a yard.
Oh, we have a tournament bracket here. They have all the names. They flashed it. I missed it, but they had the brackets for the AEW World Title Tournament.
I saw Eddie Kingston and somebody.
I think I saw Cole Carter and somebody.
I hate when they do this. They announce so much quickly. Bryan Danielson versus Sammy Guevara in a 2 out of 3 falls match on Dynamite. 2 out of 3 falls this time. Well, Sky Blue versus Jamie Hayter. Oh, my God.
That seemed to be the best thing was Danielson and Guevara.
Yeah,
that's not good for Danielson. Like, he already won that match. He doesn't need a rematch.
Yeah, what's the point there?
I don't know if there is a point to be honest. I think it might be just to give Sammy his win back.
Ugh.
I know you love that.
That means he's going to beat Bryan twice? It's a 2 out of 3 falls match. He's got to win twice.
Right.
Ugh. Yuck. Let's stick to Crown Jewel before we get to AEW. So we got Braun Strowman over Omos. Bianca Belair and Bayley, last women's standing match. Bayley hit a pretty impressive Bayley to belly suplex off a platform through some tables on Raw this week on Bianca. Did you catch that? That was cool.
That was at the end of the show. Yeah. It was all right. Like, I mean, it's a usual platform setup thing. Like, it looked very safe, but it looked nice because, they're falling through something and it crashes and breaks.
Mm-hmm.
It was all right.
Yeah, it looked good. Bianca beat Nikki Cross in the opener this week on Raw. Hit the KOD on Nikki. What?
Why does Nikki, who just came
Yes.
back last week out of nowhere,
Talk
and
to me.
then loses right away? Like you talk, no, you tell me this. Like you
No, you
explain to
tell
me
me.
why she has,
I agree with you.
why.
I don't know why. Doesn't make sense. Because she's wrestling Bianca. Because she was distracted by Damage Control, who she decided to attack for no reason. Why Nikki Cross is wrestling Bianca, who she attacked last week, but then when Bayley tries to help her and attack, like Io Sky and Dakota Kai went through the trouble of getting on the apron and distracting the referee so that Bayley could attack Bianca, and then Nikki Cross gets
Right.
mad about this and attacks Bayley. What the hell's her problem? And then Nikki walks right back into the ring after attacking Bayley and Dakota and Io. She attacks all of the Damage Control, who's just trying to help her, and walks back into the ring and takes a KOD from Bianca. What's the deal with Nikki Cross? And then she loses, and then Bayley, Io, and Dakota attack Bianca, and then Asuka and Alexa made the save, which would lead to the main event, which was Asuka and Alexa beating Dakota Kai and Io Sky to become the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They're going to have a rematch here at the pay-per-view. But Bianca Bayley, last woman standing, Raw Women's Championship match. They keep wrestling. Bayley's losing. Does she win here? Let me give you the odds. Bianca Belair minus 180, Bayley plus 140. Bianca is the favorite, but she is the smallest favorite on this entire card.
Right.
Those are the closest odds of any match on this card. Bianca and Bayley. Bianca at minus 180. So she's a favorite to win, but a slight favorite. And I am torn on this match, too. I'm not so sure. I could see Bayley winning. Because I don't think they're giving up on Damage Control, and Damage Control just lost the tag team titles. I think they lose a belt to gain a belt. Last woman standing, Bayley could tie Bianca's hair to the bottom of the ring post and keep her stuck there for 10, and she wins. You know, there are ways to win where you don't actually have to beat Bianca in a last woman standing. You bury her under some stuff. She's there for 10 seconds. After the 10 seconds, she rolls out, she bursts out, whatever. And Bayley's a new champion. There are ways to beat somebody in a last woman standing, last man standing, whatever. You know, you don't have to pin them. You don't have to make them tap out. They just have to be incapacitated in a way so that they cannot get to their feet to answer the count of 10. You just got to knock them down and then put something heavy on top of them, and you could beat them that way. So I think they do it. We're not going to see any other title change on this show. I think we will see one, and I think it will be Bayley becoming the new Raw Women's Champion, beating Bianca Belair in this last woman standing. And I think the match will be good. Their last pay-per-view match was very good. The ladder match at Extreme Rules, I think this match will be very good too. So I got Bayley winning. As an upset, John. I always pick I'm really good at picking women's MMA upsets in the UFC. Like, I hit a lot of them on my bets. I'm going to give you one here for women's pro wrestling. Bayley.
Well, it's funny. I was kind of thinking the same way too, but different reasons, because I'm just looking at in terms of the landscape here of like, it doesn't seem like Sasha and Naomi are coming back. So if you take that in consideration, who on Raw could face like, Becky coming back kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, Bianca's there, I guess. They could do that, but they've already done that so many times. To me, because Bayley took her out, it makes sense that Bayley is the champion. So when Becky comes back, it's Bayley versus Becky. Not saying that's going to be WrestleMania, but just when Becky comes back, probably before WrestleMania. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, and, you've had her face Bianca so many times already. You finally give her one win finally over her for the title. Makes sense. But I could also see they'll just give the titles back to Damage Control for the tag team titles. that might be the title switch too. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm thinking there's more you could do with Asuka and Alexa as tag champ. They just won them, so there's more they could probably do with them, I think. So yeah, I'm thinking the same as you actually. I think Bayley's probably going to win the title because in terms of like long term, you got to build up a heel women's champion right now, and Bayley makes the most sense. Also going into the Survivor Series for the War Games, I'm thinking Bayley's going to be the captain of that, probably the champion. So it makes I think a lot of sense to have a strong heel champion going in there. Unless
That
Ronda's going to be the champion too, possibly. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Well, Ronda will still be champion by Survivor Series.
I just don't know if she'll be in the War Games match though.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. I could see Becky coming back soon and going up against Bayley. Right. Becky and versus Bianca doesn't make a ton of sense because they kind of buried their beef there, and they kind of became friends before Becky left. So I feel like Becky up against Bayley makes sense. But what about the possibility of Charlotte Flair coming back on Raw and challenging Bianca?
I guess I really feel Ronda needs challengers, and Charlotte, to me, that there's a lot of unfinished business there, and you can definitely do something there. I think to me, Charlotte fits better on SmackDown, but yeah, sure, Raw. To me, it's like it's too lopsided to put Charlotte on Raw. I think.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think Charlotte probably stays on SmackDown, but she's been gone for so long, you start to wonder maybe there are other plans for Charlotte. And, they have done the Ronda Charlotte thing before. I don't know if they want to revisit that, but they might for a bit.
Yeah. I just throw this out there because you see what happened. Carmella's been gone for a while, and now we found out why. You got to wonder maybe Charlotte's going through something too, possibly.
Oh, I hope not. Oh, I felt so bad for Carmella when I read her story. She had a miscarriage in September, and then she had another pregnancy issue. I'm going to mispronounce the thing. Ectopic pregnancy. She had that recently, which is just devastating. You have a miscarriage, and then you think that you're pregnant again, and then it's ectopic, and it's not going to work out. It's really sad, and I cannot imagine. No. I can't imagine what she is going through, and Corey Graves too. Like, I felt bad for both of them. Corey Graves, her husband, and I would assume the father or potential father of her children. So yeah, it was sad to read that about Carmella. I felt really bad for her, and it made me again just so doubly thankful for my two beautiful, healthy kids that came out perfectly and never had problems or anything. Just very grateful to have those guys, those two little monsters that roam my house. Well, one of them roams. The other one is not able to walk, but she's going to figure it out, and then I'll be in big trouble. Yeah,
she just screams. She's not a walking monster yet.
Yeah, no, she screams. She doesn't walk yet. But, when I hear stuff like that, it just makes me so grateful to have my awesome kids that I love so much. And I just, that stuff, I think when I wasn't a parent wouldn't hit me as hard, but when I read that about Carmella, it just, broke my heart. It's just oh, poor Carmella. She's going through it, so I wish her the best. Hope she comes back strong or doesn't come back, and then gets pregnant and has kids and, it's cool. And whatever she wants, whatever happens. I wish her the best. Because that's a really sad story. So yeah, I don't know if we'll see Carmella back in WWE anytime soon, but we do know that we have Bianca and Bayley wrestling here on this pay-per-view, and we both have Bayley as an upset victory over Bianca. Alexa Bliss and Asuka also on this thing, fresh off their victory of the Women's Tag Team Championships on Raw this week. They take on the former champions Damage Control, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. It's a rematch for the tag team titles. I think Alexa and Asuka win. I think they retain. I don't think they do a back and forth, but
They could. It's
maybe.
not impossible.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason they had them drop the belts on Raw, because they looked at their crown jewel and realized they were not doing any title changes. So they thought, well, let's do one at Crown Jewel. Let's have them drop the tag belts here on Raw and then win them back a few days later. WWE does do that. It's not a thing that's out of the ordinary for them. So I could see that happening. I wouldn't be surprised. But officially, I'm picking Alexa and Asuka to retain. It's my guess.
Yeah, I got the same. I got the same too.
Are there odds on this? Yes. Alexa and Asuka minus 400 favorites. Damage control plus 250 the underdog. So Las Vegas agrees, Johnny North. Asuka and Alexa to retain. Elsewhere on this card, of course, the main event. Let's get to it. The Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the WWE Universal Undisputed Champion of the world and universe and galaxy forever. It's Roman Reigns against Logan Paul. With Jake Paul. That's new. Jake Paul, who just beat Anderson Silva in a boxing match on Saturday night.
That they mentioned on Raw.
Huh?
They mentioned that the fact that, Jake Paul will be there and beat Anderson Silva, unanimous decision. They mentioned that on Raw.
It's a big deal.
Well, they made it into a big deal. So yeah, they're pushing this like crazy.
Well, they're big stars, and Logan is a big star. Jake is a big star. Having them there together, it's pretty big. Just Logan Paul against Roman was a big deal, but having Jake Paul there in his corner, possibly getting involved, and this is Jake Paul's first appearance in the WWE, and Jake Paul's the guy with the successful boxing career.
Yep.
Knocked out Tyron Woodley, knocked out Ben Askren, just beat Anderson Silva, is probably going to fight Nate Diaz at some point in a boxing ring. And maybe while he waits for that next boxing match, he takes a trip to the WWE and does a little pro wrestling. Jake
Probably
and Logan
not,
Paul, the Paul brothers in the WWE, that's a pretty big deal, John. I know a lot of people aren't liking it and a lot of people dismiss these guys, but at WrestleMania, the guy was impressive. The guy can wrestle. Was it WrestleMania? It was, right?
WrestleMania and SummerSlam.
And SummerSlam. He's not bad.
He's not bad, no. But I can't say I'm dying to see this match. Like, I think he'll be all right, But there's also in the sense that believability, where it's like, how far can they make this? Where it's like it's kind of ridiculous that he's going toe to toe with Roman Reigns, where Roman's supposed to be this long reigning champion, but then Paul's just like kind of beating the crap out of him. Like, can that really work in this kind of match?
Well, I think
they'll do it.
Logan's going to get some offense,
Right.
And they're going to do some work in making Logan formidable and dangerous for the future. Because he can't get completely squashed, because they do plan on using him again after this match. So they got to make him look dangerous. Because if he loses this, considering how much they're paying him to be around, you would figure he's going to win some matches going forward. So he's going to lose, but he's not going to look bad in the loss. I think they're going to be good about this, and this will be a good match because there are going to be some good false finishes, and that's really the key to this match. Because there are already a lot of people that believe Logan Paul is going to win. I talked to our buddy there, Manny from Terrebonne, at your wrestling show during the intermission. He came up to me. He told me Logan Paul is going to win. our buddy AJ, who knows nothing about pro wrestling, but still, AJ, who's a big fan of Logan Paul, and he'll tell you he created the legend of Logan Paul himself, AJ thinks Logan Paul's going to win. I mean, AJ doesn't know anything, but, AJ's not the only one who's saying this. A lot of people think Logan Paul is actually going to win. Going to beat the most, or not the most, but one of the most dominant champions in the history of the WWE.
Recent memory. Yes. Most dominant.
Since the Hogan era. You talk about dominant champions, top guys reigning over the entire company. You have Hogan, you have Austin, you have Cena, and you have Roman.
Punk. Punk had a good brain, too.
He was never the guy. He was not, he didn't have a run like Hogan or Austin or Cena or Roman.
Wow, it was well
and he
over
never
a year,
will.
Though.
Huh?
It was well over a year. I mean, you can't deny what he was able to accomplish in that year's time.
No, it was a good year, but I mean, Roman's been champion for how long now? He's been on top.
I know.
He's been the guy for how long now? You know what I mean?
We're going close to 800 days.
Yeah, you think about the dominant champions in the history of the WWE. You think about the top guys in the history of the WWE. I think, I'm thinking Hogan, Austin, Cena, and now Roman. In that line of top guys that are just head and shoulders above everybody else on the roster.
But Austin and Rock weren't dominant champions. They were just,
I didn't
big
say
stars.
Rock.
Okay. But you
Austin
said Austin
was a dominant champion.
He never really had that long of title reigns, if you think about it.
He was the guy, though. When he lost the belt, it was
of course.
For a day, when he lost it to Kane and then he won it right back. He was constantly champion, constantly on top, not losing clean at all. That's what I'm talking about when I say dominant champion. Triple H kind of had a run, too.
Reign. Oh, Triple H was in God mode for a couple of years.
You might have to put him on that list, too, but I don't think he was... he had more competition. When Hogan was the guy, it was Hogan, clearly Hogan, nobody else but Hogan, obviously. When Cena was the guy, it was kind of the same thing. It was nobody else can really hang in this ballpark. And Roman right now is on that level where it's you may not love him, you may not think he's the best, but he's clearly the top star in the company. He's clearly the man, head and shoulders above everybody else. And he's going to beat Logan Paul.
Well, Logan Paul, regardless that he signed a WWE contract, he's still really just a guest star.
Mm-hmm.
He's just makes these random appearances. He's not going to be in WWE full time, even less than Roman is. So there's just no way you could really make him the world champion. Doesn't really in terms of maybe for the global appeal, oh my goodness, the YouTube star won the WWE championship kind of thing. That gets headlines and all that, but it's not good headlines really in the sense for what you do for Raw and SmackDown. He's not going to be there all the time.
Yeah.
And at least Roman, you get him at least a couple of times a month. Logan's probably gone until the Rumble.
I think it would be a cheap headline, and you would be sacrificing so much with what you've done and built with Roman Reigns.
Exactly.
I don't think the payoff to the Logan Paul title run will be as good as the payoff to this Roman Reigns title run. Logan Paul's a big star, and this is all fine, and I have no problem with him getting a main event match against Roman Reigns. I think he's a big enough star to merit it. Big enough star and a good enough wrestler combination. He's not the best wrestler in WWE, but he's good enough and a big enough star that, yeah, sure, put him in the main event of Crown Jewel that's on a Saturday afternoon. Okay, that's fine. Roman is a minus 5,000 favorite to win. Logan Paul plus 1,000. Minus 5,000 is the heaviest favorite on this card. Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief. So, for everybody thinking that Roman's going to lose, put $50 on Logan Paul because you'll cash in big time. Right?
Well, look at all the people that thought Drew was going to beat Roman at the Castle show, remember?
I know.
Like, so many people thought that way, and that's kind of good in a sense where it's like, wow, Roman can be such a long-range champion and people will still believe the challenger has a shot. I mean, that's good that they're able to fool people that, but, I think a lot of the people that believe that are just people that only know about Logan Paul and don't really know about Roman Reigns so much.
I think some people do know about Roman Reigns, and he is doing exactly what he should be doing as a top heel draw. People are tuning in to see him lose. People think he's going to lose. Every time he goes out there and has a big title match, they think, oh, this is the one. Finally, they're going to take it off Roman. I just know it. My guy is going to beat him. My guy Drew McIntyre is going to beat him. My guy Logan Paul is going to beat him. My guy The Rock is going to beat him. My guy Cody Rhodes is going to beat him. Wrong. Roman Reigns. Top guy. Top sports entertainer in the business. Roman Reigns minus 5,000 favorite. Heaviest favorite on this card. I think it'll be all right, but Roman definitely wins. And he should win. He should win. Putting the belt on Logan Paul would be a stunt. A publicity stunt. And the WWE does not need to do that with their top belt, especially a unified belt like this. They don't need to do a publicity stunt with Logan Paul. Having him in the match is good enough. And then, hey, do more with Logan Paul, Jake Paul. Have them wrestle the Usos. That'd be cool. But Roman will win. The OC, AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson take on the Judgment Day. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio in a 6-man tag. I don't need this. Skip this match.
Well, we got AJ Styles in this, so there's always quality in that. Finn Balor. There could be some good moments in this. Like, I don't think it's going to be the greatest thing, but it'll be all right, I think.
Carl Anderson beat Damian Priest this week with a backslide. And then Judgment Day and the club got into a brawl. And Rhea Ripley punched Gallows in the balls for the club to take control. I think Rhea Ripley punches somebody in the balls and the Judgment Day win this one. Dominic Mysterio pins like Luke Gallows or something.
Well, we finally have a difference of opinion on this one. I think the OC are going to take this one because I think they'll finally have someone take care of Rhea that they've been talking about. I think that's what's going to happen in this match.
They're going to have a female partner?
I just said an equalizer. I didn't say it'd be a female partner. They'll just have a way to make sure she doesn't. They never said that they were going to get another member to the OC, like be a female member. They just said they get someone to take care of that, right? So
they're just going to wear a jockstrap?
I don't know if it's going to be somebody in drag or whatever, or I don't know what they could pull off in Saudi Arabia, to be honest, with that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
we'll wait and see what happens.
Okay.
I think they'll have something to take care of Rhea.
Well, OC minus 600 the favorites, Judgment Day plus 350 the underdog. So I guess you're right, John. The OC will win.
Well, that's if Vegas is right. We'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah, they're usually right, John. Usually. Okay, maybe the OC will win. I don't know. I don't really care. I think this match, whatever. Anything with the Judgment Day, I don't want to see. I don't like it. Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley. They had a pull-apart brawl on Raw this week. Triple H even came out and started yelling at them. If you touch, the fight is off. Don't touch each other. He had to come out. Make it seem real.
Right.
Yeah. I think the match will be fun. Brock's going to get his win back from the Rumble. And that's basically what this is. Should be a good match, though. I'm looking forward to this. This is one of the matches that I'm looking forward to the most on this whole card. If not the most. Maybe Braun and Omos, just because I think it's going to be a disaster. But as far as like legitimately looking forward to the match and I want to see it to see what they do, Brock and Bobby, I think, should be match of the night for me. If they deliver, I think they'll probably have the best match.
Yeah, I agree. It has potential to be the best match that we see. But also, it's also in the same way for Braun and Omos, where it's like, I want to see how crazy this might get in the sense like, can Bobby take German suplexes correctly? And if he can't, how many can he take before he just suddenly says like, oh, no more? And then Brock just decides to throw him anyways. So it's partly, again, for the botch waters as well.
Taking him into the botch waters. Brock Lesnar minus 500, the favorite. Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley plus 300, the underdog. So everybody thinks Brock Lesnar is going to win, as he should. And yeah, I wonder what this match is going to look like. Should be fun. Should be violent, right? Brock and Bobby, they bring the violence. This is solid. Drew McIntyre carrying Cross in a steel cage.
If it's the opener, it might be all right. Just get it over and done with quickly. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. Still having lunch, eat lunch while you're watching it, not really pay attention. Show starts at noon. Watch this match, kind of, Drew McIntyre minus 220, the favorite. Karrion Kross plus 160. Drew a slight favorite here in this one. Not one of the heavier favorites on this card. But Drew expected to win, and I expect him to win, too. He lost the last one with pepper spray in the eyes. I think this one he'll win. I really don't care for this at all. The best thing I've ever seen Karrion Kross do was a Jesse the Body Ventura impression. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's incredible. He sounds exactly like him. Karrion Kross.
I feel like a lot of people do.
No, Karrion Kross is maybe the best I've ever heard. Karrion Kross does the best Jesse the Body Ventura impression I've ever heard.
I've heard some good ones.
Let's see if I can find this. I don't know if I could play this.
Well, if it's WWE created, probably not.
Nah, it's not WWE. It's somebody else, but I can't play it. It's not our content. But you can search it out for yourself. It sounds exactly like Jesse the Body Ventura. Like dead.
I'll definitely check it out after. But I'm not looking forward to this match as well. I mean, that match is probably the reason why I won't go back and watch Extreme Rules, because that match is very unentertaining. So I'm not looking forward to this, but
me neither.
I will somehow survive through that match. Hopefully it's early, and then it won't be so rough to take.
Drew for the win?
Yeah, Drew for the win. Why not? Just to even it up kind of thing, so then they can wrestle another time.
Oh, and they will. And they will. One of the most boring stories in WWE right now, that Drew and Karrion thing. And finally, we have the Usos obviously beating the Brawling Brutes. Usos defending the tag team titles here. They set up a match with New Day for SmackDown next week for the tag team titles. And the whole deal is the Usos are about to break New Day's record of longest reigning tag team champions in the history of WWE. New Day came out to say, hey, we want to beat you to stop you from breaking the record. And then the WWE's like, okay, it'll be New Day versus the Usos or the Brawling Brutes next week on SmackDown. But, of course, if it's against the Brawling Brutes, because they're the new tag team champions, then the record hasn't been broken, and the whole reason for the New Day match is non-existent. So, clearly, the Usos are going to win. And it'll be the Usos versus New Day on SmackDown next week, which will be interesting. Always a good match between those two teams. Usos and Brawling Brutes should be a good match, too. This could steal Match of the Night. It's a dark horse for Match of the Night, because you know the finish, you know who's going to win, but all four men are very good. And Usos are one of the greatest tag teams of all time at this point. So this match could be excellent. I expect it to be pretty good.
I mean, it has potential, but we also seen the Uso in some matches. I'm going to mention the Street Profit matches. Like, some of them were good and some of them were not very good. So it really just depends what Usos team shows up. Like, are they looking to have a good match, or are they kind of sloppy and all over the place? Because sometimes we get that.
Usos, Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns, all in Saudi Arabia. Sami Uso, not in Saudi Arabia because of his Syrian background.
Right.
Crazy. Usos versus us both. YK Beast wants me and Johnny versus the Usos. I don't know. I don't like that.
I wouldn't mind.
I mean, you would like it, John. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a pro wrestler. I don't want to wrestle the Usos.
They're smaller than me. Like, I have no problem with that. It's kind
they're smaller than you, but they're bigger than me, John.
I guess it's true, yeah.
They're much bigger than me. And they're strong. I'm pretty strong, though. Do they know jiu-jitsu? If they don't know jiu-jitsu, I might be all right, actually. Because I know jiu-jitsu.
You just got to keep them away from cars and you're fine.
Yeah, don't give them alcohol.
Yeah.
I just got to stay out from under. I get a good sweep. What do they know? Put them in a lockdown. What are they going to do? They'll be in big trouble. Probably not. They're two solid guys. I don't want to wrestle those guys, John. I don't want to do it. They're too big. But maybe I could do all right, but probably not. I think they'd beat me in a wrestling match. Harold Schneider dropping a super chat. Thank you, Harold. He says keep it up. We will. We will be keeping it up. We will be back here tomorrow afternoon, right after WWE Crown Jewel. Don't forget our Crown Jewel post show. This show, according to my TV's schedule, ends at 3 p.m. Noon to 3 p.m.
Sure.
Hey, you don't believe that, right? 8 matches on this thing. You think they're going to do 8 matches in 3 hours? I'd say this pay-per-view ends at 3:30 or 4.
Yeah, I'd say 4 at least. Probably.
I'd be really happy if it ended at 3, though. I'd be thrilled.
Yeah, I see 4 o'clock.
4-hour pay-per-view is too long. The show will be better if it's shorter, you know? Like, we will all enjoy it much more if it's a 3-hour show than if it's a 4-hour show. It's just how it works.
But you got to take in consideration, they consider this like a WrestleMania. And WrestleManias, they just kind of don't really care. They just let the shows go. And I get it. When you're making that much money, you just, if they want you to go longer, you just listen to them.
Who treats this like a WrestleMania? This is not WrestleMania for anybody except for WWE's bank and the people of Saudi Arabia. Like, this is not anywhere near a big event that is respected or cared about by the average wrestling fan. This is a weirdo show on a Saturday afternoon that nobody really cares about. I mean, they do big matches on these cards, but they don't feel big. Nothing ever feels like a big deal. It's so far away. The crowd is not a typical WWE crowd. It's usually during the afternoon, so it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't have the right vibe, and it just feels like an overblown house show most of the time. It's a house show in a stadium with pyro and some stars that they bring out, but it's not a major show. It's not the Rumble. It's not SummerSlam. It's not WrestleMania. It's Crown Jewel. It's like that other show they did, Clash at the Castle. They did that in a stadium. They had pyro. They tried to make that into a big deal. Was it? It was on in the afternoon. They had a match or two. It was not a big deal pay-per-view. At the end of Clash at the Castle, what did we really learn? Nothing. Nothing happened there. You know why nothing happened? Because it wasn't a big event, and only big events have things actually happen. This is not a big event.
Well, what we learned was we don't want Drew McIntyre to ever sing again. That's what we learned off Clash of the Castle.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre sang at the end of that show. That's a house show finish right there. that they showed on TV. Ugh. Yeah, this is not a big deal, this show. This is not a big deal. And Bray Wyatt's going to be on, too. So that'll add some time to it, right? Bray Wyatt will appear at Crown Jewel. And his promo tonight was terrible. What the hell was that? He got mad because some guy interrupted his talk backstage. Then he got in the guy's face and talked about, it's like somebody who cuts you off in traffic and you just want to beat them up. And he's getting all mad, and then there's like weird imagery happening. So Bray's like, it's the inner torture of Bray Wyatt. He's trying to be a nice guy, but it's really hard because he's got so much rage. It was awful. I hated it. This new Bray Wyatt character feels a lot like the old Bray Wyatt character that I don't like. Promo tonight on SmackDown was not good.
Well, I think it's just because you know what it's going to lead to. So I think that's kind of the problem with it. But, I mean, if Uncle Howdy ends up being like Barry Windham, I don't think that's a bad thing, to be honest. Like, that could be actually kind of fun. If like he actually brings in his family for this whole gimmick, like, that could be interesting.
Is that the deal? Is that the rumor?
I don't think that's what's going to happen. It's probably just going to be him. Like, I think Uncle Howdy is pretty much just the way he felt like his Uncle Barry treated him. I think that's how it's going to be. I know you're going to this whole like darker side of it, but I
don't know.
It's just going to be like that.
I'm losing interest more and more every week. He was more interesting
at all, to be honest,
when there was the White Rabbit video and he wasn't on TV. Since he's started on TV, he has gotten progressively less interesting.
He's cooling off, yeah. There's no question.
Stop me when I'm telling a lie. All right. Liv Morgan beat Sonya Deville in a no DQ match on SmackDown tonight. That was actually not bad.
It wasn't bad, yeah.
Liv doing that where Sonya had her in a waist lock on the apron and then Liv just throwing them both into the table that was ringside. That was pretty good. Sonya powerbombed Liv into a bed of chairs for a 2 count. And then Liv hit her finisher on top of just a bunch of steel chairs to pin Sonya. I like the extreme hardcore Liv Morgan. I was saying on Twitter tonight during SmackDown, like, yeah, give me more of this. Give me more of the tables, ladders, chairs, Liv Morgan. And give me more. Give me barbed wire. Give me thumbtacks. Give me blood. Give me flaming tables. Give me everything.
They're not allowed to use stuff that can actually cut. So
why not?
No barbed wire, no thumbtacks.
That sucks. Well, give me something. I like violent Liv Morgan. I think this is the best gimmick that she's done. And she seems pretty durable. She's taking a lot of big
for now
bumps. I know, but hey, it's working. It's the most interesting shit she's ever done. In the ring, it's the most compelling she's ever been.
Like, this was the best extreme, like, Liv that we saw, but we also saw, like, her match with Ronda, which was kind of all over the place. Like, I think she's just getting better because she's getting used to actually doing this stuff on a more regular basis. Like, it's tough, I think, at first where it's like, oh, go do this stuff, but she didn't really know how to do any of this stuff. You kind of just learn on the job kind of thing. But now she's done it a couple of times. I think she's realized what works and what doesn't work. So, also, I think to me, like, Sonya's kind of underrated as a worker. I think Sonya's actually pretty good, and I think that's what made this match, like, decent to watch.
Yep. It was a solid opener for SmackDown this week. SmackDown was not terrible. We had this. We had LA Knight beating Rick O'Shea with a handful of tights. It was all right.
It was okay, yeah.
Shayna beating Natty was pretty good. I like Shayna and Natty's match.
Well, I just find Natty's, like, again, that out of nowhere, like, oh, she's going to be a face now. Like, it's really hard for people to get behind her. And I feel like the point isn't for people to get behind her. It's just she's, like, the sacrificial lamb. So, like, Shayna and Ronda can just like destroy somebody. It's not really to help get Natty over as a face. It's just we need Ronda and Shayna to beat up somebody. Natty's the victim.
Yeah. I mean, she's filling a role right now. That's what she does. I don't have a big problem with it because it's not like Natty was doing much before. And they're turning Ronda heel.
Well,
Ronda
then they
and
broke
Shayna.
Natty's nose. That's the big thing now.
Yeah, did they though? Because Shayna hit Natty.
Well, they didn't.
Right, they didn't really break her nose. Shayna hit Natty with a knee, and then Natty kind of grabbed her nose, and it did look like Shayna landed some good contact, but you only saw blood on Natty when Natty had that towel. I think that towel had blood in it. I don't think Natty was actually hurt. Right?
It's tape show. Like,
yeah.
If they didn't want people to see blood, they wouldn't want, it was all planned, and that's how they probably got away with it, saying like, oh, it's not real blood.
That's a good point. Over on Raw, Seth Rollins and Austin Theory had a decent match. Was that the best match that you saw on Raw this week? I think the best match on SmackDown was definitely Rey and Gunther. What was your favorite match on Raw this week? Was it Mustafa Ali
Theory.
beating The Miz? Was it Matt Riddle over Otis in the Trick or Street fight? The Trick or Street fight was not bad. It was not terrible.
Oh, I did not like that. That was awful to watch. That was just stupid. Like, number one, all right, Gable and Otis out with the Chris Farley thing, like from SNL, the skit. Like, that doesn't work.
Is that what that was?
Heels.
I didn't understand what the hell they were doing.
It's 100% what they were trying to do. Like, that all doesn't work if you're heels. Like, that's something people actually like or enjoy. And again, this is like 90s stuff, like dated stuff that not everyone's going to get to. Like, you didn't catch on to it.
No.
So not everyone's going to get that. But plus, it's face stuff. It's enjoyable stuff. Heels shouldn't be doing that. So it's just awkward. And then you have Riddle doing this awkward Ezekiel thing that no one really liked anyways. And he's doing this. So everything just looks like out of place, out of sorts, and it's just stupid after stupid spots. And I was glad when it was over because that finish was awful. The pumpkin and then the crappy RKO at the end. Terrible, terrible stuff.
I just like Otis. I don't know. Otis is funny to me, but
I like Otis in better things. That was the worst they've ever used Otis.
Yeah. So definitely Seth and Austin Theory then, right?
I thought Theory looked like $1 million. Like, to me, like, not only his look, but his wrestling was on point. Like, if Seth Franklin's a face, it's fine. If he's not supposed to be, then that was really stupid. But
yeah,
I guess whatever. It was a good match. It worked. I thought it was a great back and forth stuff they did for the finish and everything. Like, these are the best thing I saw on Raw in terms of a match. So, no complaints there for that, match-wise.
It was a good match, but I'm like you. I don't understand what the hell they're doing. Who is the heel? Who is the babyface? What is going on? What is Seth doing? What is Austin Theory doing? He's the Money in the Bank guy still, right? Like, what is happening? Why are they wrestling? Why were they wrestling? I didn't get it.
And it's funny because I saw like Theory's like workout thing with Sheamus, and like he talked about like how he worked out to become like a WWE superstar. Like that's the main reason. Like it was his dream since he was a kid to do this. So it's like it's not he's just a body guy. Like everything he's done is just to get to WWE. So like to me he's the face now. Like Seth Franklin's just ridiculous with his stupid music all the time, and like to me I can't stand Seth whatsoever. I don't understand how he's not a heel. He's just so annoying.
Yeah, he's quite annoying. I don't understand why he's being positioned as the babyface. But Theory's got that punchable face. He's kind of annoying too. They're both heels to me. I don't really like either of them. They're both kind of irritating. So it's really hard to figure out who to root for. I think we're supposed to start cheering for Seth Rollins, but I think the WWE sometimes confuses fans liking a theme song to fans liking the wrestler. Just because the fans are chanting Seth's theme song doesn't necessarily mean that they're liking him. I guess some people are. I don't know.
Well, he wrestles like a face. He's doing dives every like couple of seconds, so
Yeah,
it's big spot after big spot. So,
but his promos are quite heelish.
well, yeah, but his promos are also over the place. Like, are they heelish? I feel like he's just trying to get a reaction off anything. Like I'll have a new look this week. Like every week's a new look just to get a reaction. So, I find he's not trying to be a heel or face. He's just trying to get over. That's it. He is over. I just don't think he's a top star. Like he's not the star.
I don't know what he is right now. You were thrilled with JBL last week. What did you think about his promo this week? Talking about how great Texas
Loved
is. What?
Loved it.
You loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
JBL
He's going
is the
full
best
Dan
thing on Raw
Lambert
right now.
Right? He's just the Dan Lambert of WWE at this point. Like his promos are basically that. He talks about Texas and how great Texas is, and now he's like, Texas is an embarrassment now because you have kids walking around on Halloween begging people for food. And it's like, it's trick-or-treating, JBL. It's not...
So hilarious.
Like, I don't know.
So hilarious.
It was a weird thing to say. It was weird. It was like, that's his, like, because you guys are snowflakes and you're not real Texans. You woke Texans, you snowflakes. He called them woke, and he said snowflakes, like he was using a lot of those kind of, he's a Fox News contributor, or at least he used to be, that type of talk. Some of that stuff Dan Lambert was trying to do. Huh?
He said those damn no, I think he just said those you millennials.
There you go.
It's a bad thing.
Sure. And then Corbin came out and said some things, and then R-Truth came out and Corbin beat up Truth. I don't know. I thought JBL's promo was a bit of a stretch this week. It was all right.
I loved it. I loved how he put over Texas and then he put down Texas. Like It was fantastic. I love that stuff. And like it's too bad, like that whole thing with Truth, like it looked like that was going to lead to something, but Truth got unfortunately injured on NXT, so that's going to go nowhere, sadly.
Yeah, I saw Truth tore his quad, maybe.
Oh, it looked bad. Like I don't know if it's his quad or like broke his ankle. Like, yeah, you could look it up. You just look R-Truth NXT, whatever. Like, just put that in a search. Like, you'll find it pretty quickly. Like, it's kind of sad because like it looks kind of harmless, but you see the way he lands, and you're like, uh-oh. Like it looks really bad. Like it's too bad too, because like they were building Truth for something. It looked like every time someone would say Truth in some capacity, he would show up, and it was happening like consistently every week. Like they could have kept that running for quite a while, but unfortunately now I think it's going to be over because like to me that looked like it's going to be a serious injury that's going to require surgery. Sadly.
Well, that's too bad. Poor Truth. Yeah, he got hurt in a match on NXT this week. Byron Saxton did the investigative journalism piece with Johnny Gargano about Dexter Lumis and The Miz.
Talking about the bad part. See, Raw started good and then went kind of downhill, unfortunately.
I mean, first you had a match between Mustafa Ali and The Miz that Miz lost because of a distraction from Lumis. Anytime The Miz is in the ring, I just can't do it anymore. I can't. I've seen too many Miz matches. I've seen him wrestle for so long, and he's not better.
Right.
So, why are we still watching this guy wrestle? I mean, he's not even mediocre. He's bad.
Yeah.
He's always been bad, and he's still bad. And he's maybe getting worse because, wear and tear, age, whatever. I think he's getting
more of a
worse
character now.
Huh?
It's not so much about being a better wrestler. Like he's just doing the same things over and over. It's just a different story. That's it now.
It is the same thing over and over. Anyways, Johnny Gargano says Dexter Lumis lost his job and Miz took advantage of him by giving him money to stalk him and attack him, to stage attacks.
Because he's out of a job.
Because Dexter had no job, right? So Miz gave him money to make Miz and Miz stage the attacks and the stalking so that Miz could look like a celebrity and look more famous. This is what Johnny Gargano is claiming, because Miz craves the
His own
attention.
losses.
Huh?
Like, you see how they realize, like, this story didn't make much sense when they're like, so he staged his own loss when he had the U.S. title. Like, he was going to win that match, but he staged it so he would lose that match. And they're like, oh, yeah, it was just to put over, like, so you would believe the con that much that he would go that far.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, he's that big of an idiot. Yeah, 100%,
Yes.
I believe that.
Gargano's claim was that Miz had paid Dexter Lumis to attack him during the Bobby Lashley match because he knew that he wouldn't win the Bobby Lashley match anyways, or the U.S. title.
But he was he was already on the outside, like, he was right there, and it was because Loomis was there. He didn't, like, it's so stupid.
Gargano was then asked why Miz attacked Lumis with a chair afterwards, and Gargano says it's because Miz had refused to pay Dexter Lumis money that he owed him, and Dexter was out for revenge.
Okay.
And Corey Graves was as skeptical as you were about this conspiracy theory that Johnny Gargano was putting out there on Raw this week. So I thought we were going to get a resolution to this dumb stuff, but I don't think we did. Because Gargano kind of told this tale, and it's not being accepted as fact. It's being accepted as kind of like, well, that's what Johnny Gargano says. We'll see next week. Right? Ugh. Anyways, that happened.
It's just dumb television, like, to do a stupid, like, 60-minute spoof kind of thing like that, and to sell it like this is part of the actual story. It's just poor of WWE to do something like that. Like, they're better than that. Like, they can put on great production. Why spend your time doing some sort of spoof on something that people don't really care about whatsoever? Like, the full story thing about how, like, he's paying him off kind of thing, like, that kind of works in a sense, but as you see, like, it doesn't work in certain situations. So, like, maybe that should have happened after the fact, like, he was attacking him, so, like, to get him to stop attacking him, like, then there was the payoff kind of thing, like, at a certain point afterwards where it actually makes sense. But to say it was from the beginning was like, no, there's too many holes for that. And you trying to explain these holes, it makes it even more ridiculous.
Yep.
Bad story. Terrible story.
Maybe Johnny Gargano is wrong, though. I think if Johnny Gargano is wrong, people will be like, well, that makes more sense. Right?
Yeah, but why is the baby face wrong? Like, that makes the baby face look bad.
Maybe Miz is the baby face in the end?
They just need to rethink their stories. Like, have an idea from the start and, like, an end game instead of, like, okay, we're going to do this. And then it's like, well, we don't know how to get out of this. Let's just throw something together kind of thing.
Well,
stop doing stuff like that.
To be fair, I believe this Loomis Miz stuff. Oh, no, it didn't start with Vince. No, this is all Triple H. Yeah.
This is all Triple H.
Yeah. Maybe this is like Gargano, Loomis, and Ciampa all working against the Miz together. Somehow.
Okay.
I don't know, John. I want to make sense of it too, but yeah. Smackdown World Cup starts next week.
Who's
I
in
think
it?
this is to promote the World Cup. I don't know who's in it. They didn't really announce. They did announce Santos Escobar versus Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown next week, but they didn't say that it was part of the World Cup, although you would think that they would try to have as many people from as many different countries as possible, and when you got a guy from Japan and a guy from Mexico, you might want to throw them in the World Cup. It might help, but maybe not. I don't know. Shane McMahon is the last WWE World Cup winner. Remember that?
Best in the world, yeah.
Best in the world. So maybe he'll win this one, representing America. I think this is because Fox has the World Cup of soccer that's starting soon, and WWE is just helping them promote.
Oh, that's kind of neat. I look forward to the actual World Cup, actually.
Yeah. Should be good. long as France
Canada,
wins
yeah.
again. Canada.
I'm going for Canada. Sorry.
No, going for France, obviously. Shinsuke Nakamura, speaking of Shinsuke wrestling next week, he's also going to be wrestling for Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. WWE allowing him to go wrestle for another promotion, opening that forbidden door. How about that? It's a rare move by WWE.
Hopefully we see more of that.
A little surprised, though, right? Not
Well, I
something they
think
do
it's a
very
special
often.
kind of thing. It's a
Yeah.
special kind of request, I think, that was put in, and I think this is Triple H trying to, put in a good, like, face kind of thing where, it looks good for the company. This is the way we do things now. Like, we're open to do business in certain situations. And, they have no animosity, I think, with Noah, so why not?
They're not really competition either. And,
Right.
they're allowing Shinsuke to go wrestle for Noah. They wouldn't allow Shinsuke to go wrestle for New Japan, obviously, because of the ties
Exactly.
with AEW. Also, Carl Anderson is, I think, he's maybe the never openweight champion. He was a champion in New Japan.
Now there's problems with that.
Well, yeah, because then he
Supposed to
signed to
defend that title tomorrow.
He's supposed to defend the title tomorrow. I think New Japan's just going to strip him of the title tomorrow when he doesn't show up. But they haven't
Right.
officially stripped him because, he's still the champion in one of the champions in New Japan, and WWE signed him, and then that was it. I guess Carl left them high and dry, and he's going to be in Saudi Arabia, and he will not be in Japan wrestling there. So WWE relationship with Noah, no relationship with New Japan for obvious reasons because of that AEW affiliation. WWE Crown Jewel going down tomorrow. Once again, we'll be on right after the Crown Jewel to review that. Let's jump over to AEW World, where Dynamite was kind of crazy this week. Jeff Jarrett.
Pretty bad. Pretty bad.
You didn't like Dynamite this week?
Like, I don't know. I saw some people say the worst episode of the year.
Huh.
Like, I feel like there's been episodes that have been worse than this, but this was not very good, in my opinion. Like, I felt like there was a lot of effort, and like some moments were interesting, but for the most part, not a very good show. A lot of misses. Like, good tries, but a lot of misses.
I like the main event. Samoa Joe and Brian Cage, I thought, had a really good match for the Ring of Honor TV
Yeah,
title.
the main event was a good match, but
Yeah.
that may have been the best part of the show.
I think it was. I think it was for sure.
I can't find a lot more highlights, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I like that match. Samoa Joe beating Brian Cage. Cage's goons attacked Joe after the match. Wardlow made the save. Powerhouse Hobbs attacked Wardlow afterwards, held up the TNT title. Hobbs holding up the TNT title as a close to the show is kind of weak.
I like it. It's what I expected.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see any of that as big deal main event stuff.
That's pay-per-view, man. It's going to happen.
I don't care about it, though, right? I don't know. I don't care that much. I think it was an eventful episode of Dynamite, though. Like, maybe quality-wise, as far as the matches and the promos, it wasn't the best. But, man, a lot of stuff happened. Jeff Jarrett debuted. House of Black aired a promo, and Malachi Black was in it. So, obviously, he's not leaving AEW. He's going to come back. That was interesting. The promo itself was not great. It was more of the same from them, but it's like, oh, okay, he's not leaving. He's sticking around. That was something. Rick Ross, Ricky Rose was on the show. That's a big deal. He's a big rapper. Jeff Jarrett made his debut. He's now going to be working backstage for AEW as well as on camera. Jade Cargill wrestled. Shibata came out and Jade Cargill, Shibata came out and accepted a match with Orange Cassidy that we saw tonight on Rampage. Like, Shibata coming out and signing a contract for a match was kind of a big deal. And, of course, Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana showing up was a surprise.
That was a disaster.
Why?
Well, the match.
Yeah.
Like, you know what happened in the match. Like,
Where they fell
see,
off the top rope?
like there was no way they couldn't come back from that.
Mm-mm.
They had nothing to come back from that, sadly. Like, that was just an epic fail on sadly, and there was just nothing they could do to save. Even the finish too. Like, it felt like they gave up. Like, Jericho tried to, rub it in Punk's face, and it felt like karma got Jericho back.
Yeah. Like, if Punk's watching that match, he probably isn't. But if he is, maybe people sending him just the highlight of Jericho. Colt with Jericho up on his shoulders, at least trying to get him on his shoulders on the top rope. And Jericho just never secure and just taking a tumble down to the floor. And then Colt just falling after him. I think just out of...
Well, it's the momentum too, because like, the weight and everything. Like,
But
there's
also,
no way you
like,
could.
what's he going to do? Sit up there and just kind of go, huh? Like, you can't stay up there. You kind of got to crash to the floor, too. Make it look like you all...
You don't have to.
I guess you don't have to. I think it would have looked worse had he just stayed up there. I don't know. It was horrible. When that happened, I was like, oh, no.
And they
Oh,
went to commercial.
no. Yeah, they're like, break. Let's get out of here. Oh. Colt goes up with Jericho on the second rope, tries to get him on his shoulders. Jericho just falls off. Colt can't hold on to him. Jericho slides off, falls to the outside of the ring. Colt tumbles with him. Oh. Yeah,
Thankfully,
it was
no
kind of
one,
a
I don't
mess.
think, was hurt on that one. Like, that could have been really bad. Like, I
Yeah.
thought Jericho hurt himself, to be honest, on that.
You see Garcia run over and try to catch Jericho? Like, no.
But I thought that's what hurt Jericho more, was the fact that I thought he caught like his foot in the face or something.
It was crazy. I was like, oh my god. Oh god. Shocking stuff. So the match was not great, but just the fact that they had Colt Cabana there sends a message, right?
I mean, to me, yes and no. Like, I mean, it sends a message that they have Colt. They've always had Colt. And like, he was around regardless if Punk was there or not.
He was
Like,
not on Dynamite the whole time Punk was there.
Incorrect. He wrestled Bryan Danielson, if you remember correctly. Remember when Danielson was going through that whole thing, like he's going to beat up Hangman's friends?
Yes, you're right. He did wrestle
And he beat
Danielson.
Yeah.
So one match?
Let's face it. No, I remember the one match, but let's just face it here. Like, Colt, like, he's just not as good as he used to be. I met him. He's a good guy, but he's just not the same, wrestler he was a couple of years ago anymore. Like, I get why they put him in the Dark Order. Like, you saw in that singles match with Jericho, it's just, you can't have those matches anymore. He's not like top level kind of guy. He can be like, mid card kind of guy, but that's about it. And I Ring of Honor, that kind of makes sense for him, I think, at this point.
Yeah, this match was not good. It was not good.
I don't think we're going to see him back. I mean, and you know,
but I think they're sending a message. Like, they got Colt on the show. Punk clearly is still mad at Colt Cabana, and they're showing promos for the Elite, the new promo for the Elite, and it seemed like it was hinting towards a trios title match against the Death Triangle, right? That Elite promo. That's probably what they do at the pay-per-view, which is what we expected. I did predict Colt Cabana would be Jericho's opponent, though, right? I said that last week on the show.
Yeah. You did, yeah.
I was kind of joking.
It happened.
Like, could you imagine if they did Colt Cabana? That'd be really sticking it to Punk. And then they did. Which really felt like more of a message than a booking. You know?
I really feel Jericho had a big say in that, because Jericho has more like creative say now. So I feel Jericho is the one to push for that. But I think Jericho's got to realize, like, you got to look in terms of the quality of the match first, not in terms of like what the reaction's going to get, because you still have to wrestle the match,
Yeah, but
and
I
people are going to
think
remember that match.
sometimes you're willing to have a bad match to send the message you want to send. And there was that story that was going around that Jericho told Punk he was a cancer to the locker room, like Jericho
Right.
seems quite adamantly not on Team CM Punk. Matt Hardy, too. I don't know if you saw, but Matt Hardy's like the Elite were right. Did you see what Matt Hardy tweeted out today?
He clarified it though, because like at first people were saying he was at All Out,
Yeah,
and he
but he
saw
was
what
not
happened
there.
firsthand. But he was not there.
However,
Yeah.
let me read you what Matt Hardy said. My comments from this week's Matt Hardy pod have been misconstrued. I was not at All Out 2022. I did not say I witnessed the events at All Out. I witnessed the entire process in real time over the months and stand by my comment that the Elite were not in the wrong. So who was in the wrong? CM Punk. And his wife, did you see what Matt
boy.
Hardy's wife said?
I didn't, but I can only imagine.
Matt Hardy said his comments were misconstrued. Rebby Hardy, Matt's wife, says, mine weren't. Fuck CM Punk.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it'd be something like that. Yeah. You see why she doesn't wrestle in AEW.
Ooh, she doesn't wrestle anymore. She used to
No,
wrestle,
she doesn't
right?
wrestle anymore at all.
No.
She used to, yeah. She used to manage. Like, remember, she was actually somewhat in Impact. Like, she was in that run for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, she was
anymore.
good. She speaks her mind. I like her. She's fun. Fuck CM Punk. Wow. She did not hold back. What else happened on Dynamite this week? Jon Moxley beat Lee Moriarty.
I mean, it was what it was. I mean, it wasn't bad, but again, like, you're just having these matches just for the sake of having matches. Like, do we really need this? Does Jon Moxley really need to have this? And I feel like we've done this before too. So it's like, why are we having these matches? Just so you can wrestle these guys that you like wrestling over and over again? Yeah, but like, we're going into a pay-per-view. Like, there was no MJF. Like, and yeah, like, you're pushing that firm like crazy. That's fine. But this match didn't really add anything. Like, it kind of added like Ethan Page a little bit. Like, to me, he's the favorite right now for the tournament, because I feel like whether it's Moxley, whether it's MJF, it works for him to be the challenger.
I have the bracket in front of me.
Oh, you do? Nice.
Eddie Kingston will wrestle Ethan Page on Wednesday in a quarterfinal.
Okay.
Next Friday on Rampage, it seems like they have 3 quarterfinals.
Wow.
It'll be Bandito versus Roosh.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wow.
That'll be a good match. That. Yeah. Brian Cage versus Dante Martin.
Okay. All right.
And Lance Archer versus Ricky Starks. So I think probably what we see is Ricky Starks and Brian Cage advance and face each other in the semifinals. And then
former partners.
Ethan Page and Bandito advance in the other semis.
So Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks in the finals?
Yeah. And then Ethan Page wins, and then Ethan Page goes up against Jon Moxley because Ethan Page attacked Jon Moxley after the Lee Moriarty match, right? So there's foreshadowing already. Or MJF
win the title.
Oh, yeah. So maybe Ethan Page from the firm to go up against MJF, who turned his back on the firm.
I mean, it really
or
it
Ricky
works
Starks.
So many ways.
Ricky Starks against
it really
MJF.
Works, yeah. So it's kind of. I mean, we got the final set, but I mean, it could go either way on that one because it works both. I find against MJF. But honestly, I think Ethan Page works the best. I think.
I think Ethan Page, Ricky Starks are the most logical choices to be in the finals of the tournament, and the winner of that going up against MJF makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah.
But as far as promos and build to a big match, I think MJF and Eddie Kingston would be interesting.
Oh, of course.
Like, a lot of people want to see Eddie Kingston become world champion one day. I think against MJF, they'd believe it to be possible. And the promos would be very good. I don't know how good the match would be, but, you know, like, my favorite part of Eddie Kingston is the promos because he talks. He's good at promos. His matches are not my favorite. Like, I'm not a huge fan, but his promos are very good. And MJF, of course, you know, one of the masters of the game. So I think that those two together talking shit to each other in the ring could be really good TV. Could be volatile. Could lead to another backstage fight or a suspension or whatever happening backstage in AEW. But, you know, whatever. I don't care about that. I want to see good TV.
That always happens. Yeah. Who cares?
Like, I don't care that CM Punk and the Elite can't coexist. I want to see them both on TV because I like them all. You know, I'm disappointed that CM Punk's not around anymore because he's really good at pro wrestling. No matter what you may think of him as a person, he's pretty damn entertaining in the ring. You can't really deny that. Hard to deny that.
I mean, that's, I think, what people would want to see more than anything is some sort of, you know, Punk versus Omega or Punk versus the Elite in some capacity. I mean, to me, that's the biggest, like, sell AEW has right now. Is if you could pull off that match in some capacity, people will be tuning in for that. That's the biggest thing they can pull off.
It's one of the biggest matches in pro wrestling right now. Dream matches,
yeah, 100%.
Big matches. It's Punk Kenny and it's Rock and Roman.
I mean, totally different reasons, but yeah.
I think Rock Roman would do more box office. It would sell more.
It's bigger. It's more mainstream. But, yeah. I mean, in terms of wrestling fans, like, you get a lot of big-time wrestling fans to watch that match.
Yeah. It would be hot, but they're not going to do it, Sean. It's not going to happen.
Well, wait until next year.
I think Punk is more likely to go to the WWE than to come back to AEW.
Well, I see less likely on that one, but okay.
Bet. I will bet you take AEW and I'll take WWE as to where CM Punk has his next match. I will bet you that it's WWE over AEW. I think that he is more likely to wrestle in WWE than in AEW. And he's under AEW contract right now, John, as far as we know. So that's a big it's a big statement. I'm telling you, though. I think he's done with AEW.
I feel like we might be at a draw. More than likely, there's a good chance of that. I think that might be the highest one.
Wait till WrestleMania.
Where he ends up nowhere.
Wait till WrestleMania. Well, it's going to happen.
He's not like Cody. Cody had different ambitions. I think
Punk wants to make money. WWE wants to make money. They're going to make money. It's money. It's a money match right there. Getting CM Punk in the WWE would be huge.
Against?
Anybody. Cody. I mean, Cody's got that association with the Elite. I think Punk and Cody would be a nice jumping off point, and then whoever. Roman, Seth. Whatever you want to do.
See, that's the problem, is the lack of good matchups for him. Like AEW, there's a lot of interest there, a lot of things he could do, a lot of things he hasn't done yet. WWE, it feels like he's done it all already, to be honest.
That was a while ago. They got a whole batch of stars now. Matt Riddle and CM Punk?
Yeah, I don't see him and Kevin getting along too well, so that's not a good idea. So
I don't know.
I also remember him getting along with people, obviously, as we've seen, it doesn't really work out too well. So you have to take a lot of things into consideration. We'll have to wait and see until next year. He's not wrestling until next year for sure. So
I wouldn't make him the world champion, and I wouldn't sign him to a deal where he wrestles more than 12 times a year. He wouldn't be full-time. Keep him away from everybody.
This is why. Keep him away from it. Lock him in a room.
Yeah. He's better off that way. He'll do good TV, he'll do good matches, and you won't have to deal with him. I think that's the best way to do it. And then he's happy. He gets paid big money. Like, give him a Brock Lesnar contract. That's what he's always wanted. Give it to him. He's worth it.
He kind of has it already, like, I think.
Yeah, but
I
he
mean,
can't work in
what is he-
AEW anymore because they don't want him. So go to WWE and see what they'll offer you. And I think they should offer him money because, I mean, he's a talented guy. People like watching him. He's going to move the needle. Why wouldn't you sign him? If you're WWE and you don't think about signing him, you don't offer him a contract, you don't, go after CM Punk, I think you're doing a disservice to yourselves. You have to go after him. You have to. Because you look, again, at the landscape of professional wrestling and the free agents that are out there, the hot free agents that could actually make a difference and move the needle, they're not out there. They don't exist. CM Punk would be a guy that, you would have to go after if you're the WWE, just for the mere fact that you need big stars.
That's a tough one, though. Because, again, like, it's not so much about, like, them trying to get him. It's more about him wanting to be there and him getting along with people there. It feels like he's got as many issues in WWE, more so than AEW. So does he really want to go back there? And apparently, like for him to say that he stopped wrestling when he went to WWE, that's a big thing for him to say. So, and again, like, it was a storyline with Triple H and Stephanie. Like, a lot of that he meant. Like, and he's still, like, there's a lot of bitterness there. That's the hard part. So, you think he's mad about AEW stuff. Like, I think he's more mad about the WWE stuff. Because, again, they sued him on his wedding day. They fired him on his wedding day. Right, yeah. But they still sued him, too.
Yeah, well, they could blame all that stuff on Vince.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And they could cure a lot of that with money. Brett went back. San Martino went back. Everybody goes back eventually. Hogan went back. Everybody goes back. Everybody goes back. Cody went back.
You think Jericho's going back?
Cody smashed.
Jericho
probably won't go back, but he's at a different stage. But, Cody smashed a throne with a sledgehammer. Cody was starting a revolution. Cody was doing all that stuff, and now he's in WWE. I mean, people go back under the right circumstances for the right money. And I think Punk will go back for the right money. And I think the WWE will give him that money. Elsewhere on Dynamite this week, John, we had Jay Lethal over Darby Allin with help from a guy dressed as Sting. That guy is called Cole Carter. I don't know who he is, but he's now friends with Jay Lethal, I guess. And then Jeff Jarrett showed up and hit Darby Allin with a guitar. And Jeff Jarrett says Darby just took a lesson from the last outlaw. And I said, wait a second. I thought that was The Undertaker. Remember when Undertaker was calling himself the last outlaw?
Again, him coming out to Johnny Cash was the best thing, I thought.
Yeah, it was cool. Ain't no grave. Anyways, Jeff Jarrett was there. He's got a cowboy hat. He's doing the guitar. And he says that the delusional AEW fan base needs to know that his family's been in pro wrestling since 1946. And wherever his family went, they left an impact on pro wrestling. Get it? Impact?
I get it.
When he's done with AEW, there's going to be 4 body bags, and you can choke on that, slap nuts. And then my favorite part of the segment happened when his theme song played, and it was the My World theme song. My World. His old TNA theme song. King of the Mountain, baby. Jeff Jarrett. Back when TNA Impact was something that I watched. Remember when TNA was like a wrestling program that we watched on a weekly basis? Whatever happened to that? It was all right.
Well, they kind of fizzled out.
Main Event Mafia, brother. Man, Impact was not so bad for a while, When they had Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett and Booker T and the Stinger and Scott Steiner and all those guys, Even the Hogan era when they had Robert Van Dam and Jeff Hardy and Ric Flair. Although the Hogan era kind of killed it off, I think. The whole Bubba Dudley trying to marry Hulk Hogan's daughter angle kind of killed my interest in that company. Right?
Yeah, the aces and eights. Yeah.
Yeah. Ruined Impact. Anyways, Jay Lethal was in Impact for a long time. So was Jeff Jarrett. And now they're together, I think. Jeff Jarrett's going to be doing some backstage work in AEW. Seeing him here with Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt makes me think of Impact. I don't know if that's a good thing. Although I just was reminiscing about the good old days of Impact Wrestling. There were some good days. But a lot of bad days. I think more bad. So, there's that.
Well, what's the huge payoff here? We're going to get Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal against like Darby Allin and Sting at the pay-per-view. That's more likely what's going to happen here. I mean, fine, okay, it's just another whatever match. Like, it's not a big thing, but it's something to do. Like, the main thing was to get Jeff Jarrett, I guess, to hire him so he's going to be in charge of international events. So maybe they'll have more shows in Canada because of that. So if that happens, great. Fantastic. There's more AEW shows just not on television. That's a better thing for the company to grow for the wrestlers. So it's a good thing as long as we don't see Jeff Jarrett wrestling every week. I don't think we need to see that. I don't think we're going to see that. So this is a good thing, actually.
Yeah,
Jarrett's good.
I don't hate it. Yeah, he's solid.
He's good to have, just not as the guy,
No.
But he's good to have, like, in the company as a company person.
Yeah, I'd give him a match every once in a while. It's not a bad idea. Why
That's
not?
it.
Why not? We had the Daddy Ass birthday bash with the Acclaimed and the scissoring and
Yeah, we did. I mean, it's ridiculous, but regardless, I mean, it's super over. So, I mean, they got to run with this. This has to be on every week because it's pretty much the most over thing right now in AEW besides MJF. So, yeah, the Acclaim have to be on every week. They said, like, it's Acclaim, I think, every week or something.
Every
That's
Wednesday.
What AEW stands.
AEW
every
stands for
Wednesday?
Acclaimed every Wednesday, yeah. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
I mean, it works. The whole, like, is you can't do the thing, so they get the padded scissors now, and they'll sell that, more merch to sell. Yeah, it
the
works.
foam scissors that they have now for Daddy Ass that you can buy.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. The crowd is so into it. The guys are having fun. It's so ridiculous. It's not bad. And then the Ass Boys showed up, and Big Cass attacked. I guess he's called William Morrissey or W. Morrissey. He's just Big Cass to me. He'll always be Big Cass. So you got Big Cass, Daddy Ass, and the Ass Boys. I'm just going to start calling him Big Ass. Big Ass and the Ass Boys versus Daddy Ass and the Acclaimed Boys. FTR showed up and ran off Big Ass and the Ass Boys. And then the FTR had a kind of tense moment with the Acclaimed where they picked up the belts and gave them to them. And next week on Dynamite, it'll be the Acclaimed and FTR versus Swerve in the Glory and the Ass Boys. Swerve in the Glory were backstage with Rick Ross doing a promo this week. Johnny, what's your favorite Rick Ross song?
What's that hustling song? Is it just called Hustling, I think?
Every Day I'm Hustling.
Every Day I'm Hustling. I mean,
yeah.
I think everyone knows that song.
Yeah,
I think that's the only Rick Ross song I really know, but that's a good song. That's a great song. I don't think you can play that song if you're trying to look for it.
No. I think my favorite Rick Ross song is BMF. I feel like Big Meech, Larry Hoover, da-da-da, hallelujah. That's a good one. I like that one. I like seeing Rick
Ross. He was in jail, though, wasn't he?
I don't know, maybe. Everybody goes to jail every now and again. I mean, not me or you, but you know, rappers, they tend to. It happens. Rest in peace.
Like, he didn't
take off.
Serious jail time recently? Like
I don't think so.
Kidnapped somebody, didn't he, or something?
What?
Yeah, yeah, like.
No. Not Rick Ross. He would never do such things.
Well, he's not a perfect man, sadly. I mean, he's very, a lot of charisma. To me, like, he's a great fit if he's going to be with Swerve and Keith Lee. Like, I thought he was fantastic, but I was a little surprised. I'm like, oh, not in prison. It's good.
No,
I guess you're looking up
the
his
last
records.
incarceration that I'm seeing was in 2015. Him and his bodyguard were arrested on kidnapping and assault charges. He pleaded no contest. The other to felony count of aggravated assault. The other felony charges were dropped. He served a week in jail and paid a $10,000 fine. You're making it out to be way worse. This is in 2015, and that's the last time he was incarcerated. All right.
Oh, you're only in jail for a week for kidnapping?
It wasn't a kid. Well, those charges got dropped. It wasn't a kidnapping. It was an assault or whatever. Anyways,
Okay.
Rick Ross was on TV this week on Dynamite. He's got a clean record these days, John. Come on. Let's not disrespect the man. I was happy to see him.
Well,
AEW bringing out some cool rappers. They got Action Bronson.
Isn't
They got Rick
Bow Wow
Ross.
come out?
Huh?
You
Griselda.
didn't see that, like Bow Wow?
Bow Wow has the thing going on with Jade Cargill or something, right? I don't know what that is. Bow Wow is irrelevant. Rick Ross is still relevant, you know? Griselda, when they came out, I was like, ooh, that was cool. With Daniel Garcia, that was awesome. In Buffalo. Action Bronson with Hook was cool, too. In Queens. Rick Ross was cool. I like that. I like that AEW brings in rappers for their shows. Cargill beat Marina Shafir. This was horrible because Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero were on the ramp with microphones for the match, and Jade was like ignoring them, and it was really awkward. That was awful. That should not have happened. Just let them have the match.
Well, I think it was to distract from the match because the match wasn't exactly very good. So they were trying to distract people from actually watching the match, which is like, well, if you're going to do that, why even have the match?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that. And Nyla has stolen the belt from Jade, and Kiera Hogan tried to get it back, but she got knocked over, but you couldn't see it because they didn't show it on camera. Jade was just upset at Kiera Hogan, who was on the floor for some reason. And Nyla had disappeared.
Well, I think she tried to grab it and she hit her, and that's it. Like,
yeah, but we didn't see it happen. All we saw was like Kiera sneaking up behind Nyla, and then the camera cut to Jade, and then we cut back to the entranceway, and Nyla is gone, and Kiera's on the ground, and we're like, okay, I guess Nyla pushed her down, and okay.
That's it.
And then we had a triple threat that Orange Cassidy won over Luchasaurus and Rey Fenix. Jungle Boy took out Luchasaurus at one point with a crossbody off the stage through some tables, and they got a lot of distance on that crossbody. That was pretty sweet. Jungle Boy just went for it.
No, that looked pretty good. That wasn't really part of the match, but I mean, it was a nice little moment, side moment, whatever.
It took Luchasaurus out of the match and away from the finish. It eliminated Luchasaurus from the match, right?
Right.
So it did make sense there. Pac came out to tell Rey Fenix to use the hammer. He is obsessed with this idea of using a hammer to win matches. He told him in a promo prior to the match, use the hammer. It's the only way to win if you use the hammer. And Phoenix is like, yeah, I don't know about this hammer, man. And Pentagon, his brother, is like, yeah, maybe hammer, maybe no hammer. I don't know. Pac's kind of hammer crazy these days. And then during the match, Pac is like, use the hammer. And Phoenix is like, I don't really want to use it. I'd rather just kick him or do one of these hammer Kanranas instead, you know? And then Phoenix and Orange exchanged pinfall attempts, and then Orange hit his punch and pinned Phoenix for the win. So Phoenix did not use the hammer, and he wound up losing. But dissension in the ranks of the Death Triangle, right? I think Pac is going to break away from Phoenix and Pentagon at some point because Pac is obsessed with this idea of using the hammer, and the Lucha Brothers don't seem into it. Why this specific weapon? Why the hammer? And why is he so adamant about it? Before the match,
Well,
use
because
the hammer. During the match, hammer? You want the hammer? And Phoenix is like, guess hammer. No say.
well, when he was champion, he was always using the hammer, and it helped him win matches. So that's the reason for the hammer.
He was champion for what? A week? A
Well, he was
month or
all-time
two?
champion for quite a while. Remember, he depended on the pay-per-view against like Kip Sabian. Like, he beat
Oh.
Orange Cassidy a couple
Oh.
times before he lost to him.
Yeah. Quite a run with that hammer. Really, Pac needed the hammer to beat Kip Sabian. So necessary. Come on. The hammer. Anyways, it didn't work. No hammer. No problem. I think they all fall apart at the pay-per-view. Full Gear. And I think it'll be the Death Triangle versus the Elite for the Trios Championship. We know it'll be Toni Storm defending her AEW Interim Women's Championship against Jamie Hayter. That was made official this week for Full Gear, which is still 2 weeks of TV away. So AEW still has 2 more episodes of Dynamite and Rampage before Full Gear in Newark, New Jersey. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the gear that will be full. Moxley and MJF and the other matches that I mentioned there. What else is going to happen at Full Gear? Maybe Darby and Sting against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. You'll have John Moxley and MJF. A tag team title match official. We have the Acclaimed against Swerve and the Glory. Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter. Sorry, what?
The tag title match is official. Yes, that's true.
It is, right? And what is this? A fatal 4-way match seems official as well for the Ring of Honor Championship. Chris Jericho defending against Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara.
I didn't know about that. I guess they just found that on Rampage, I guess. We just got that.
Jericho did a promo tonight on Rampage, so maybe that was what he was talking about.
Wow, that's a good 4-way, though. I like that 4-way. It's a good match.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out when they announced this 4-way match, but I guess they announced it tonight on Rampage. And also the finals of the AEW Championship Eliminator Tournament will also take place at Full Gear. So the match that we anticipate, Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks for the finals for a title shot, likely for Full Gear. It's coming together. 5 matches so far announced. Last week, I think we had 1, right? Moxley and MJF. Right. This week, we got 5. So they're putting this thing together, John. Slowly but surely. AEW Full Gear. Huh?
So you just need 10 more matches.
Oh, don't say that. We don't need another 15-match card, please. Please, no. We have an 8-match card going down tomorrow afternoon in Saudi Arabia. It's WWE Crown Jewel. We will be on right after Crown Jewel. Whenever it ends, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever it may be. WWE Crown Jewel going down at noon Eastern time tomorrow. 4 p.m. start in the UK, which is nice for our buddy Tony Mack. Shout out to Tony Mack. Shout out to Harold Schneider. Shout out to all the members of the team joining us here tonight. If you are not a member, you can join up over at join.ringsidereport.net. That is join.ringsidereport.net. Sign up to the channel, support the Ringside Report Network, and thank you to Harold Schneider. You are the super chat leader of the night, and we'll be back in full force. The Simon brothers will be here, myself, my brother, and Big Johnny North tomorrow afternoon for the Crown Jewel post-show as I continue my marathon every Saturday doing shows for you here on the Ringside Report Network. We have the weekly shows, of course, every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Ringside Report MMA, every Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time for Wrestling Uncensored. But, we usually do some Saturday specials, and last week we had the Anderson Silva, Jake Paul watch along on Saturday night. This week, Saturday afternoon, we've got the Crown Jewel post show. Next week, on Saturday night, we'll have the UFC 281 watch along, Adesanya versus Pereira in that one. The following Saturday on the 19th is AEW's Full Gear, so we'll have a post show for that. And then finally, Survivor Series on the 26th of November, Saturday the 26th, so we'll do a post show for that as well. So a very busy month of November here on the Ringside Report Network. A lot of stuff, a lot of fun, and a lot of shows here for you. So definitely support the Ringside Report Network over at donate.ringsidereport.net or join.ringsidereport.net. Johnny North, any final words before I say goodnight and see you tomorrow?
Well, just going back to the show that wrestled on this past Sunday, it was nice though. Unfortunately, Onyx obviously had more fans than I did. It was nice to meet the fans that I did have at the show. Like you said, Manny from Terrebonne was there. That was cool to meet him. There was other fans that told me that, they've been listening to our show since like day one. That was kind of cool. Like telling me like, we helped them through their long shifts at night.
Wow.
So that was kind of nice to hear stuff like that,
I didn't meet any of those fans. That's too bad.
That's too bad, yeah. I met one fan. He's like, "Oh, every time I see you wrestle, I've always see you wrestle, but you always lose all the time." I'm like, "Well, you're just picking the bad time all the time." And it's like, "Oh, well, you're the best, looking wrestler, like you're the best, like moves and all that. Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, why didn't WWE hire you?" I'm like, "Oh, they're idiots. What do you want me to tell you?" Like, that happens, unfortunately. Like,
yeah,
we don't live in a perfect world. It happens. But it was just nice to meet fans. Like, unfortunately, Onyx had more fans than me, but it was nice to meet the fans I actually did have.
Yeah, I met a couple people. I met people that I'd seen before, but it was good to see some viewers of the show. Manny from Terrebonne. We saw our buddy Matthew as well. He was there, so always.
Oh, nice! I didn't see him.
Yeah, he was there. He was sitting very close to the entranceway. I saw him there. Shout out to Matthew and shout out to Manny and everybody else that I didn't get to meet on Sunday at the show. Come check me out. You know what I look like. You see my face. Come see me. I'm around.
Did you have sunglasses on, though?
No, I was indoors. What am I, a jackass?
Okay. Well, I'm just saying AJ does it sometimes, so I don't know if you guys were, like, working in cahoots sometimes.
No, we're not big time in it. We don't do that. That's
okay.
Not the kind of guys we are. All right, that's it. I'll be back here tomorrow afternoon. Let me go because, we got to watch a pay-per-view in less than 12 hours at this point. So, show's over. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon after Crown Jewel right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.